Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout. Holy crap. I just got done watching the Game of Thrones season 8 episode 5. This is unscripted. This is just off the cuff. This is exactly what I thought after watching this thing. This episode was one of the best episodes of Game of Thrones in my opinion that I have seen in the entire 8 seasons. So, spoiler alerts, if you have not seen it, just click subscribe and go to one of my other videos because I don't want to ruin it for you because I'm just going to be going over a recap of the episode. But right before I do that, I just want to say this. There is so much set up in this episode for the final episode up next Sunday that I I mean I didn't even know that there was NBA Finals yesterday, but there was. I guess I don't know, the 76ers and the Raptors were playing, but I don't know anybody that was watching that game because this right here was the NBA Finals. This was the Super Bowl, Game of Thrones. I mean, it's just so cool to get to experience a show like this. I mean, it's literally like I think Game of Thrones, in my opinion, is better than Lord of the Rings. I don't know. Maybe I'm overstepping my bounds here, but I just think the overall characters, I love the cinematography. The CGI and special effects in this episode I was blown away. Absolutely blown away. I mean, this is big blockbuster movie quality. It's amazing what they can do now. This show would not have been able to have been done 10 years ago. Impossible. It would have cost too much. It would have taken too many resources, and it wouldn't have looked as good. The dragon looks phenomenal. The destruction looks phenomenal. The stunt choreography was believable. The writing, the cinematography, everything. So, all right, let's get to it. So, a lot of people die in this episode, as you probably expected, because they have. I mean, they have to. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. You got to kill people off, and this is the second to the last episode. So we're gonna go through real quick who died and what the heck happened. So starting off, and if I butcher people's names, don't take it easy. But because these aren't real names, these are made up names. Varys, I want to say that's his name. Varys. He's the eunuch, the bald guy who is an advisor. So it's discovered that he is a traitor, and um, the Queen's the Hand, Peter Dinklage's character, actually rats on him, and so Daenerys goes absolutely insane, and she has him executed by fire. So what she does is she has her dragon. What they do is they arrest him, they bring him down to the beach, and she has her dragon, which is right above her, and she yells Dracarius, and the dragon breathes fire and incinerates him. And what's really cool about this scene is you see Jon Snow's reaction. You see how he can see, um, you know, behaviors of the Mad King, which was Daenerys' father, in her behaviors, her cruelty, not giving this man a second chance, even though he's been loyal, even though he's a really really useful advisor. And you see the relationship dynamic between Jon Snow and Daenerys change dramatically when this happens, because he knows this is not just. The second one is Urian Greyjoy. Although okay, so basically what happens is he's on his ships, the Iron Fleet, and then Daenerys flies in on her dragon, and they are unable to shoot and kill the dragon like they were the other one, the second dragon that they killed. So she burns down the entire Iron Fleet. He swims to shore, and then later on in the uh, episode, he confronts Jamie Lannister is trying to actually get to the castle to save Cersei, because he's somewhere deep inside him, he still cares about his sister. So the two of them battle it out. He actually stabs Jamie, not killing him, but mortally wounding him 2 times. And then Jamie ends up stabbing him through the chest with a sword, killing him. And as Greyjoy bleeds out dying, he just looks up at the sky and he kind of smiles and laughs and says, "I killed a king," meaning like, he's kind of like a scumbag loser. So the only thing he's ever really going to accomplish in his life is to bring down someone who was royalty. Um, Next up is uh, Qyburn. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Um, so as Cersei Lannister's trusted advisor, he finally convinces her to surrender. He foolishly, later on in the episode, tries to pull rank, and he goes up to the mountain and tells the mountain that the mountain needs to stay closer to Cersei and protect her. And the mountain reacts by grabbing him by the neck and slamming his head against the wall, and his brains just splatter all over the place. I mean, it is. Let me tell you what. If you like The Walking Dead or you like shows where there's a lot of brain splatter, this episode is for you. I mean, I was like, how did they do that? Was that practical? I mean, it was a great mixture of CGI and practical effects because you can tell some of this stuff is real red mush they put together, and some of it is probably dressed up with CGI, but it looks phenomenal. I mean, it really does. Whoever did these, the brain splatters or just gore in this episode, I mean, that guy needs to get hired like crazy for horror movies. Absolutely phenomenal. Um, okay, next up is the Mountain versus the Hound. So this face off, everybody has been waiting from the very first episode of the series to see the Mountain versus the Hound. They're two brothers. The Mountain is the older brother, the Hound is the younger brother. The Hound's face was burned badly by the Mountain when they were younger. The Mountain is very sadistic. He was killed in a previous season and then resurrected as kind of like this zombie Hulk type of guy. And they have an epic battle scene. And I mean, you got to watch it to see it. It is absolutely phenomenal. Great swords play. You really see how strong the Mountain is, and you see the Hound, realize that his brother has become undead. And what's so cool is we finally get to see the Mountain's face. His helmet falls off. We finally see what his face looks like, and it is zombie awesome. It is really, really creepy looking. And they battle it out. Eventually, um, the Mountain gets a hold of the Hound, tries to crush his skull, and in the middle of trying to splatter his skull against the wall, the Hound stabs the Mountain right through the face with a dagger, right through the eye, and he sees his brother is slowly pulling out the dagger and it's going to come back at him, kind of like the Terminator. So he realizes the only way to stop him is to sacrifice himself. So he tackles his brother through the crumbling, burning castle, and they fall to their death. And that's how that ends. And I thought it was pretty epic and really, really cool. I thought they did a really, really good job of it. Um, Next up is Cersei and Jaime Lannister. Cersei, completely defiant, not willing to cave in to Daenerys, not willing to bow. And what ends up happening is Daenerys just totally loses her freaking mind. You see the Mad King enter, and you see how she's going to be a terrible, terrible queen, and how all of the criticism about her and her leadership was correct. Anyway, Daenerys loses her mind after defeating the Lannisters and defeating the army, and the army basically throwing down their swords and just saying "Uncle," saying "We give up." She loses her mind and burns down the entire city, and so this was pretty surprising because I didn't think she was really going to do this, because in the previous seasons, Daenerys is like, I am the breaker of chains. I'm the person who frees slaves, and here she becomes a tyrant. And I thought the writing was really good with this because we see this in real life. So it's kind of grounded in reality. We see in other parts of the world, like in countries in South America or the Middle East or other areas, you see like there's a tyrant, a dictator. You see a freedom fighter kind of rise to the top, lead a resistance. And then once the freedom fighter overthrows the dictator, the freedom fighter then becomes the dictator, and it's just this never-ending cycle of pain and misery and people trying to get power. And there's no freedom. There's no ability for citizens to have a say in how they want their government to be run, and we see that. And so I thought this played out really really well because you see the person who claims to be oppressed end up actually shifting to being an oppressor. And so she loses her mind. Not only does she kill the army, the Lannisters' army, but she also destroys the entire city, and that was incredible because you see good people, you see women and children, and just non-soldier men, just farmers and merchants getting just blown away. I mean, it was incredible. I just was really shocked that she did that. And then she decided to destroy the castle. I'm like, that's a beautiful castle. Why would you destroy it? And I'm guessing the Iron Throne is totally destroyed now too. They don't show it actually being incinerated, but I'm just like, this has to be destroyed. So Daenerys flies her dragon and just burns down the whole village, the whole city, and then burns down the entire castle. And I was just like, what the heck? And then while that's happening, Jaime finally reunites with Cersei. They escape down into the basement area of the castle, into the foundation underground, where there's that dragon skeleton from the previous season. And I guess there's like a secret passageway that they're supposed to take a lifeboat. Well, that secret passageway is blocked, and they realize that all is for naught, and all that suffering and trying to get out is going to finally end. They're not going to get away. And Jaime grabs Cersei and just says, look at me in the eyes. We are all that matters." And as she kisses him and they kiss each other, you see in the distance that basement dwelling start to cave in, and then eventually it caves in on them and kills them. And I mean, it was really incredible because I thought she was probably going to die by getting like eaten by the dragon or something, but no, it was actually kind of a poetic way to die. But I don't know. This episode was absolutely phenomenal. Uh, if you have HBO Go, watch it immediately or get it and get it some way because it's just fantastic television. I mean, it really is. We're in the golden age of television right now. Non-movies, but television. TV is better than movies. Absolutely incredible. Um, but anyway, thanks for listening to my rant. I just love this. I love this show. I'm just so sad it's going to come to an end, but I know it's going to live on. I know that people are going to be talking about it for many, many years, and I'm sure they're going to have like offshoot, shows and stories and things with, with different characters or a prequel or something that's going on with it, and so I know that we'll keep getting fed Game of Thrones, red meat and stuff. And but anyway, thanks for listening. And as always, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Later.